Hiya, my internet family, and welcome back. So that last millennials versus Gen Z video I did completely changed my algorithms. Everyone online seems to be talking about how people are aging nowadays. Or not aging, from OG YouTubers to everyone and their actual granny on TikTok.
These people are all in their 20s. But so are these people. Did people used to look older? There's pretty much an entire subculture around how old footballers looked decades ago. 24, 31, 33, 29, 27.
The whole millennials are aging better than Gen Z conversation, it fascinates me.
Apparently Gen Z is aging faster than millennials.
They started cosmetic injectables way too young.
They all wanted to look like Kylie Jenner, and Kylie Jenner wanted to look like Kim.
Ma'am, you look good for your age, and I don't know what that is supposed to mean because I'm 23.
I think this lady nailed it, to be honest.
I don't think millennials really look younger. I think for the most part, we look good to be the age that we are. I will say that. We aging gracefully.
And I do think Vsauce best explained why.
Changes in lifestyle, nutrition, smoking habits, healthcare, early life conditions, and skincare, particularly the use of sunscreen, are a huge part of it.
Like, you only have to go back one generation. My mom's generation, they would not touch fat. Frying something in coconut oil, are you mad?
This new Best Foods low-fat mayonnaise dressing has very little fat.
Did you know that the food you eat can have a profound impact on the health of your skin and how quickly you age? Avocado is good for your skin. Olive oil is good. And nuts. Nuts are great sources of good, healthy fats.
So if those of us born between 1980 and 1997 look younger than previous generations did, you know, we can safely assume why, but people as young as like 18, 20 are frequently reporting that they feel they look much older than they are.
Gen Z looks way older for their age. If you don't believe me, I'm Gen Z. Right. When I tell people, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with my family, they think I'm talking about my children. I don't have kids.
Yes, today I want to talk about what appears to be the accelerated aging of Gen Z. Society is pressuring new kinds of botox, injectables, and all sorts of plastic surgery on even younger people than ever before.
Time for a multi-billion-dollar industry to step in. Young people are now being heavily encouraged to start injectables to prevent aging. When they literally don't have a speck of a line, they're getting injectables, botox, filler, you know, to slow down their aging.
Girls who get Botox in their 20s are winning, and here's why. So whilst I don't have any deep set wrinkles at the moment, it's going to prevent them from coming later on in life. I am simply investing in my future self.
I just love when people say, oh no, you don't need Botox and filler, you don't need it. I don't need it because I get Botox and filler. So let's go over all the areas I've gotten Botox and filler. Here's my before and after.
Celeb cosmetics doctor Rakshani Mogdam said that overuse or unnecessary application of filler and toxins at a young age may affect the natural facial development, causing younger patients to look older than they are.
To be in your 20s and to be thinking about what you can do to be more beautiful.
Now look, us millennials didn't grow up with social media, but Gen Z did. They've had social media in their lives since they were little kids, and that, in my opinion, will definitely have been adding to their insecurities and their seeking out of tweakments.
I think social media turbocharges
a good word for it.
Underlying sense of inferiority that many people have.
There are millions upon millions of views now on content about the impact of the over-injection of filler, which causes something that's become known as pillow face. This is when you see abnormally large lips and cheeks.
You can really see how much filler is in my lips, and like they just feel really hard, and it's just time they went.
I went and got lip filler when I was around 16. Around that time was when it had become very normalised. Filler was literally like going to the gym. Like, I'm just going to go get a top up of my lip filler. It became so normalised, which is terrifying.
So because it's become so normalised in the industry that I'm in, of content creation, I do get asked often what I've had done, like what fillers, if I have had any neuromodulators in my face. I'm going on 35 this year, and I'll be honest with you, while I've not had anything done like even a trial run of anything, I have been very tempted, and I have been for a while fighting that temptation, because like almost every other influencer who's been doing this gig as long as I have, you know, I've been making content online for 10 years. I see now a lot of them talking about this, like either documenting the process of getting stuff done. The majority of them have at least tried it, but most of them get it frequently and are very open about that, which I really respect. When I see them talking about it, I just think good for them, you know. Firstly, there's a lot of people who get stuff done and are never transparent about it, and I think that's a much bigger problem. Secondly, I've not walked a mile in anyone else's shoes.
Full transparency, as a beauty person, as I do my lips, I've had a ton of lip filler over the years, and Botox, I stopped in 2018. I just felt like hiding, you know? Didn't expect to get emotional.
I know people who get treatments done for many different reasons. Take my friend Carla, for example. She lost a huge amount of weight.
I've lost 180 pounds. My face lost an awful lot of volume.
She gets stuff done, and that enables her to see in the mirror the reflection that she would have seen if she had never gained all that weight and then lost all that weight. I know people like Jazz who use Botox for pain relief. You know, it's used for medical reasons as well.
I just got Botox to fix my broken jaw.
And then there's people who just, they don't really want to look natural. It's the same way people might want pink hair, or they might wear really over the top makeup. Just because I like things to look a bit more natural, quote unquote, not everyone does. Some people like for their features to be a bit more over exaggerated or to have a more cartoonish look. Everyone is so different. But this video is about me, and I know me. I know I wouldn't be getting those procedures for myself. I'd be getting them because of concern over other people's perceptions of me, my own perceptions of myself based on society's new ridiculous standards. If I lived in a forest, in a tribe, with no internet access, no mirrors, I wouldn't care about wrinkles. I know for sure I wouldn't still be dyeing my hair or shaving my legs. You know, I've enough stuff that I'm already like conditioned to do. But yeah, I've been editing content featuring my own face since 2013. I've seen a lot of my own face. While a lot of you guys, I did ask this on Instagram, a lot of you guys think that I do look my age or that I look younger for my age. Some of you said I look in my 40s, so let me know down in the comments what you think. I have absolutely noticed my face aging, even though I don't really have any static wrinkles. I have dynamic wrinkles from moving my face and stuff, but when my face is resting still, I don't really have wrinkles, and yet my face looks older. Being static wrinkle free doesn't mean you're gonna look 22 forever. As we age, 3 big things happen to our faces. Number 1, our skin sags. I've noticed this. It might not be super noticeable on camera, especially when there's like lights involved and stuff, but I see it every day in the mirror. Secondly, we lose volume in our faces, and this has 100% happened to me. Even though I've put on some weight after having kids, I've lost a lot of facial fat. And you know what? I really like how it looks. I'm not just saying this. So many women, to me, look more beautiful as they age. Yeah, also we lose bone mass as we age. I think it's called bone reabsorption. But I've noticed, especially since having babies and breastfeeding, like there's a lot going on with my face. And then third, I'm Irish, I say third. Our skin shows more wear and tear. So there's sun damage, of course, which we can, for the most part, combat with a good SPF. But then there's just like, you know, expressions. If we don't get Botox, we're obviously going to be making expressions, and that's going to be giving us wrinkles. And then if we're not getting filler, we're going to have wrinkles. And in this video, I'll be telling you why I've decided for sure I'm not ever going to be injecting stuff into my face. I've so much to say. But first I want to tell you real quick about my video sponsor. which has been a godsend in weaker moments where my body dysmorphia voice has been speaking to me extra loud, and that is BetterHelp. This is how it's spelled, BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. But they are the world's largest therapy service. They're 100% online, and with them you can tap into a network of 30,000 therapists, all licensed and experienced. Huge variety of people with different specialties. And to start with them, if you want to click my link in the description box, they basically ask you a bunch of questions, and those answers will help them to match you to the right person. They want to know what your preferences are, what your needs are. I know what my experience with in-person therapy, these things kind of just don't, they're just not part of the conversation at all. It's usually like who is taking on new people and who is within a small radius of my house. And multiple times I have gone to in-person therapy and just not clicked at all with the person. Whereas with BetterHelp, you get matched with someone, and then if you're not really vibing with that person, you can very easily switch for no additional charge to a new therapist who you can then call, text at your own convenience. I just text them whenever, and then fitting in a weekly call is a little bit harder working around my kids, but definitely easier than if I had to leave the house, let me tell you. So if you think you'd benefit from a therapist who's custom picked for you and, you know, having more flexibility around your therapy, I wholeheartedly recommend BetterHelp. I started using them during the pandemic and they still serve me well. You can get 10% off through my link, and yeah, I hope you find them helpful if you're really struggling with body image or any of the other million issues that modern living brings to our lives. So filler and Botox. Firstly, what are those? What are those? Botox is a neurotoxin that paralyzes facial muscles to reduce dynamic wrinkles, which are those ones that are formed by muscle movement. So just think of all the ways your face changes and scrunches up when you express emotions. Fillers, on the other hand, work by filling in wrinkles that are already there or areas of your face that lack volume. So they treat static wrinkles, basically like lines that are there when you're not moving your face at all. So some people have like the forehead lines even when their face is completely rested. Here are all the reasons why I've decided I'm not going to get these treatments, okay? My first of many reasons is that neither of these treatments would actually address my biggest insecurities or concerns when it comes to my face. So those are acne scars and dullness. So I had cystic acne and there's just lots of little pock marks on my face, and you can see it in certain lighting, but that is something I tried to get rid of with microneedling treatments. I got a few of them done and then the lockdowns hit and I just kind of stopped going to salons. I haven't had a facial in such a long time. Yeah, and then my skin is naturally quite dull. Like I have to do a lot to give it that glow. Like I have to be really on top of my vitamin C and all that stuff. Yeah, that's the main point I want to make here, is that it's really important to know what these treatments can and cannot do. They cannot give your face a glow. They can't make your skin look healthy. They can't undo all of the years that I spent in front of my mirror as a teenager squeezing my spots. Next thing. So I have a history with body dysmorphic disorder, and that's something that I don't think will ever fully leave me. And the thing is that some practitioners have this too.
Cosmetic doctors may also suffer from body dysmorphic disorder, or BDD, and this has further implications when treating their patients.
About being treated by practitioners with BDD, that they've been found to have greater left-sided brain activity when it comes to processing facial detail, and so they'll have a tendency to focus on areas more than usual.
Does that mean you might feel, for example, more cheeks, too much cheeks or too much lips, just focus on one area? Is that
exactly? So they will have this tendency, and we know this from studies in patients.
So combine body dysmorphic disorder with the possibility that my practitioner just will not see my features objectively, really. You know, they might be possibly seeing them through the same lens that I am. Well, you might not know. Hopefully you don't know what it feels like to have a BDD brain voice. just hyper focusing on silly little things that no one else cares about. Combine those with the risk of me becoming addicted to getting these things, which is a real potential thing. Like, you see it all the time. Someone goes for a little tweakment to just, balance something out or whatever, and then fast forward 3, 4, 5, 6 years, they're just completely unrecognizable. I feel like if I start, it's just a gateway into...
You physically changed, haven't you? The photographs of you, if I look at them.
No.
Yeah, but even the shape of your face has changed.
No, it has not. I've had no plastic surgery on my face, just my nose. It helped me breathe better so I can hit higher notes and have clear. The press decided to add on all this stuff. Nothing's been done to my eyes, cheekbones, chins, lips, nothing.
More and more and more, and then even more potentially invasive procedures like a facelift. I spent a long time finding self-love and being able to just look at myself and like what I see in the mirror. And I'm not about to go ruining that now.
I don't want to look like 35 when I'm 53. Why should I aim to appear younger than my age or hide it?
Since I stopped getting fillers and Botox, and maybe I'll start again one day, I don't know. To each their own, whatever makes you feel beautiful, I do support. But I know for me, I was just like, oh, I want to see my well-earned cry lines and smile lines. I hope my smile lines get deeper and deeper, and I laugh more and more. And I just think aging is like it can be such a beautiful thing.
Then there's the cost.
The most common ways these are sold is by the syringe, and a price of a syringe will range from $500 to possibly over $1,000 for just one syringe with 1 milliliter of product inside.
I don't care how much money you are or are not earning. The amount of money for like one syringe of product, and you multiply that by how often you would need to get these things done, because they are temporary. We'll get on to that because there's some discussion over this, but they're the kind of thing that you're supposed to go every few, be it weeks, months, depending on the product, depending on your age, because the older you are, the more product you need to get a certain look, like a certain result. That can add up to thousands a year. Like so many other things I'd prefer to do with that money. Holidays, really cool house renovation stuff, paying to get a master's degree, fancy restaurants, delicious food. Like there's so many things I would prefer to spend thousands a year on. And sure, with repeated use as well, you can actually develop antibodies to Botox because it is seen by your body as like a foreign substance. And yeah, there's a thing called Botox resistance. Then you need more to get the same result, and it's more money. It's big business, lads. It's worth so much money, this industry, all because we've been conditioned to fear getting older, something that is such a privilege. A birthday is a celebration of like, I've made it another year, I'm not dead yet. But you know the aged TikTok filter that got real popular, was trends and viral. I sound like a granny, don't I?
Here, who's your one? Because I tell you something now, if I look like that when I'm older, it baits all out. You can start filling my face with plastic now.
I don't like it.
Oh, really, Kyle? You don't like it. We both know you're not going to end up like that anyway.
When I tried it, like when I saw the aged version of myself, I started crying. Like I got really emotional because it made me look like my nana who died when I was 16, and I looked like her. I could literally see her in this old face, and she loved to smile. She smiled so much, and I love to smile. Like I like being expressive.
So this is me smiling. Up top, he's dead. Like, there's nothing faking happening. I feel so much more socially awkward now, and it's ironic, really. I wanted to get this procedure done to boost my confidence, but it's had the opposite effect. It's made me feel so much more self-conscious.
And I just think women, like actresses who haven't had filler and Botox, who are like really, really expressive, and the littlest changes in their faces make you feel so much emotion. Like, it's such a powerful communication tool, and I don't want to lose that. Like, I just love looking at people's faces and the story that their face tells of their life. Not to mention the fact that Botox was only cleared by the FDA for cosmetic use when I was a teenager. I remember that. Like, filler isn't even around as long as I have been around. So these are relatively very new treatments, and we don't know what the long-lasting implications of getting these treatments is yet. Quite honestly, freaks me out a bit. Like, when you're getting aint done, you have to know the risks and you have to accept them. And I don't accept them. I just don't.
You see, a team of doctors used a special camera to examine the lymphatics in 50 women who've had facial filler. A special dye was injected into the women's faces, which the camera could then track as it moved through the women's lymphatic channels. The study showed dye injected into the faces of women with the filler pool under the wear, the eyes, and in the cheeks. And it's still stuck there. 1 week later, your lymphatic system would normally have drained that dye you see out almost immediately, but not with the filler present.
I have to be in a lot of pain to even just take a painkiller. Like, I don't like seeing the lists of side effects on a lot of things. I'm just one of those people. I have to do like a pros and cons thing in my head. I'm like, am I in an enormous amount of pain? Okay, maybe then I'll take a paracetamol. With these treatments, there are side effects. There are common ones, and then there are rare ones that are extreme, and they're real.
So let's talk about things that are a bit more serious that can happen with filler, like arterial occlusion, which is probably one of the scariest ones. This means that filler is injected by accident into an artery or a vessel in your face, and it blocks the blood flow, so no blood can flow through it. And if no blood can flow through it, then whatever that vessel feeds will die. This can cause skin necrosis or skin death, and even worse, it can cause blindness that is permanent. Fillers can cause granulomas or little lumps under the skin. These can create an unsightly look, they can be painful, they can create infection and other issues. Some studies are also linking fillers to autoimmune reactions. So if you are someone who has autoimmune issues, please discuss this in depth with your provider before getting your filler procedure done. And lastly, this is kind of a side effect or maybe just a consequence of the procedure, but you just may not like the outcome.
I don't think they did a bad job. I don't think it's anything like that. I had a great experience. But I don't like the way I look now.
I know people who have gotten so lucky, narrowly missing these very awful complications, like Stephanie.
The doctor said it looks as though either one of the injections has impeded on a blood vessel or the injection was done too close to the skin, which caused a reaction. Basically, they thought that the injection, like the filler, had kind of blocked off the blood supply.
I saw an article that said 1 in 6 people will have bad reactions to Botox. I don't like them odds. I don't like them. Like muscle atrophy. That's where your muscles, when they're not being used, shrink and weaken. The tissue literally wastes away. Like, think about it. When you don't use a muscle, it shrinks. When you have a baby and you sit on your ass for months breastfeeding, your ass is gone. No ass left. Happened to me, I know. Think about when you've like your arm in a cast and then you take it out and like you've got one little arm. From Botox, your facial muscles can atrophy and thin, and the tissue can waste away from the disuse of the muscle. I've seen a lot of people online saying that they feel like once they start, they can't stop, like with Pringles, you know, they can't escape having to get more and more done, because when they stop getting them done, their face doesn't look like what they've been told it should look like after they stop. A lot of people think that if they get Botox and then they stop for a while, because say they just can't afford it for a while, that they're just going to look like they did before they start getting the Botox, when that's not how bodies work.
I started getting Botox injections about, I would believe, more than 5 years ago. And when I stopped, immediately it was like, oh my gosh, look at my face. I noticed that the corrugator muscle, like when I went to scowl like this, that when I let go of the scowl, it stays. And I was like, what's going on? It's like gooey underneath. My face wasn't like this before. My muscles didn't do this before.
And then with filler, all this stuff coming out, that filler just lasts so much longer than we know.
MRI studies have shown that temporary hyaluronic acid fillers may last a lot longer than the 6 to 18 months we've always been led to believe they last for. We've had, over the years, a lot of patients come in after having dermal fillers to their tear troughs many years ago, and they come back sometimes 6-7 years later and they have this puffiness under their eyes, this bulge.
When people say a filler lasts a year or 2 years or 18 months, that's from the approval trial done by the company to show a result. They've never studied how long it is lasting in the face, but clinicians like me and everyone else injecting these products, we know they last tens of years in many people.
Here's something important to know about filler. I'm a skin cancer and facial reconstructive surgeon, and I spend a lot of time cutting people's faces open, looking at their tissues under the microscope, and I want to show you something very important, what you see here. You see all this grayish blue stuff right here and over here? This is hyaluronic acid filler. This was in my patient's cheek eyelid yesterday. I cut this out while I was doing surgery. Importantly, the last time this person got any filler was more than 5 years ago. Why is this important or relevant? It's because although the clinical effects may be thought to be temporary, the actual residue of the filler is permanent. It stays in the face and intercalates in the tissue for life. So things like duct-filled lips, or filler migration in the face, or the inability to show your emotions properly or smile, making the squinty eyes, for example, are all a consequence. So as a PSA, this stuff is not temporary and can have long-term consequences.
I'll never forget one of my influencer friends, like 7-8 years ago, telling me he was getting filler at the time, and the person he was going to was this like well-known, well-respected person who puts it in your face, whatever they're called. But they told him that it's just hyaluronic acid. It's just like your tears. It's a natural thing that's in your body. It's just that natural thing that hydrates and plumps your skin, and we're just putting a bit of that back in. And I remember him telling me this, that it was just composed of just hyaluronic acid and it's all natural and it's fine and it's safe. And I was so close to going for an appointment to, look into getting this done, because his results were astonishing to me. I was like, wow. Then I researched it, and it's not that at all. It's manufactured hyaluronic acid. Yes, it's designed to act like your body's natural hyaluronic acid, but think about, if you've given birth, you'll understand this one, but oxytocin versus pitocin. So oxytocin is the hormone that we release that brings on our labor. It induces our contractions to help us get the baby out. And then when we don't go into labor naturally in the hospital, they tell you they're giving you oxytocin, and they mean a synthetic version of it. And so many women who've had births with pitocin and without pitocin have said that pitocin contractions are contractions on steroids. They are 1,000 times worse than regular contractions. I've not had pitocin, so I cannot confirm, but that's what a lot of people say. And we should listen to women when they talk about these experiences. There are people who have no problem with that and are not in any way freaked out by pitocin and are completely happy to get those things put into their body and stuff. And I am not one of them. I don't want some kind of weird Frankenstein thing in my face called hyaluronic acid. That's not actually hyaluronic acid. And when you get filler, your skin stretches to allow for the filler to go in. And if you've ever gained weight, you'll know that when your skin stretches even a little bit, it's never as taut again. It's always a little bit saggier or squish, like looser. 100% of the time. And then so if you get fillers and then you don't get them again, there's gonna, even if it's not like immediately noticeable, there's gonna be some effect on your skin and how elastic it is. And so many people talk about this when they stop getting fillers. They're just like, what happened to my face? Am I literally stuck in a loop now of having to get these forever and ever? And then because they're now finding that it doesn't all fully go away necessarily always, and it can migrate and it can remain. When people get this lots and lots and lots of times over the years, they don't necessarily always like the results they're left with. You see people regularly now talking about getting them dissolved, and even big celebrities like Courtney Cox just saying that they just really regretted getting them.
Courtney Cox revealed that her dissatisfaction with fillers occurred gradually over time after doctors continually told her that a little injection here or filler there would help. Next thing you know, you are layered and layered and layered. You have no idea because it's gradual until you go, oh.
And experiencing what one of my fears is just that, like, not being able to tell when you've gone too far. And I say too far as in like too far for yourself, because you can't even see the filler anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it happened to me when I first lost a lot of weight. I couldn't in the mirror tell that I'd lost so much weight, and so I almost didn't know when to stop. Like, when am I at the point that I was like, this is what my goal weight is. I don't like having like a goal weight now, but I used to have a goal weight when I was in my early 20s, and I remember like I got to it, and I actually was like, I was very, very slim, but I really couldn't see it at all. And now I look back at pictures and I'm like, who is that? And that can happen with injectables, where you lose sight of what you were going for, like the look you were going for. It's so noticeable to me when someone has something done most of the time. Like, sometimes I'm told someone has something and I'm shocked, but that's rare. Like, usually I can see it, and it actually takes me out of the moment, and I'm in my head thinking, I can notice your filler, your botox, instead of me just like talking to this person, and like I'm noticing it. In the same way, if you put on like really elaborate blue eyeshadow, and you want people to notice that, but I know a lot of people, when they get these procedures, they don't want people to necessarily notice it. I'm noticing that the person is trying to smile, and it's not, the smile isn't really reaching their eyes in the way that it should. I bring that up because what I mean is, I don't want other people to have that with me. So like, you know, if I'm having that moment with someone else, and maybe that's all going on in my head, and like they don't give a shit, that's fine. But I just don't want anyone to ever be talking to me and be so distracted by my fillers in my lips that they can't look away from my lips and trying to figure out why my top lip looks so big all of a sudden, and they're not listening to what I'm saying. You know what I mean? So those are like the main reasons. At the end of the day, like, I wear makeup, and I definitely like care about my appearance, and I do a lot of things and this and the other. Like, I know my friend Hannah Witten, she stopped wearing makeup, and I just think she's so amazing for it. I have other friends who've stopped dyeing their hair, and I'm just like, oh, the kids. Do you hear crying? I hear crying. I think that's my sign that I have to go. Buy my books. I write novels. Glass houses. If only. Google them right now and you can buy them from anywhere. Check out my website. They're linked on there. Do let me know how you feel about this down in a comment. I'm going to go and be a mammy. Could talk about this all day, but I just can't. I've got responsibilities that are stressing me and causing me to age. But we love that for me. And, you know, just bring it on. I just can't wait to see what I'll look like in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. And I'm just going to enjoy the face I have now. And I'm not going to be like, oh, I look so old. Because sometimes my brain does that. But I'm never going to be this young again. I'm never going to be this young again. I've learnt my lesson. When I started YouTube in 2013, I thought I looked old.
Hope you enjoyed this awkward ass makeup routine and my weird naked makeup face with no makeup when it looks all weird.